Alright, hello, welcome into this PTU Options Weekly Recap. In this video I thought I would take a few minutes and show you guys how the reversal setup has been performing over the past couple of weeks. Specifically the last week where we've closed out a number of winning trades. The system just continues to do a phenomenal job of identifying those key market extremes. Okay, if you've been watching the market, you know that it's been a little indecisive of late. Okay, with the Fed so involved in the markets through printing money through QE, it's been tricky. Okay, the overall market, it's just difficult to see the two-way price action that we're used to seeing. But when you look at some of the key high flyers that I track week in and week out, we've seen some pretty nice moves. And the reversal setup's done a great job of identifying those moves over the past, really the past number of months, specifically here recently. So we'll take a look at a handful of stocks. First thing to point out, I'm not picking and choosing the best names here. These are just the names that I trade week in and week out, month in and month out. The names don't change. Okay, that really makes life easy for myself because I don't feel the need to constantly be looking for the next the great candidate to look at. So I'm going to start out with Netflix here, symbol NFLX. And we're going to take a look at this most recent short setup. So with the reversal trade, the way we identify those market extremes, for us to get an overbought reading, we're looking at the percent R indicator down here at the bottom. And once we get up above that 90 level, that gives us an overbought reading. Okay, on the downside, for us to get oversold, we need to get down below 10, which you can see by this green line. Okay, so once we see an extreme reading on percent R, that's step number one for a setup. Step number two is we need to see confirmation from our signal line, which is this blue line moving across the chart. So in this case on Netflix, we got overbought. We got up above the 90 level on percent R. We also got to close below the signal line on this bar right here. So once that's set up, my calculator printed the setup on the chart for me. Told me exactly where to get in, gave me my targets with the green dots, gave me my stop, which is the series of red dots. So that really just makes life so much easier on myself because there's no calculating targets and stops on the fly. I mean, you just don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we got short here. We moved down pretty quickly to first target. Once I hit that first target, notice that the calculator moves my stop from the full stop level up here all the way down to break even. Once we continue to move down towards that second target, notice what happens to the stop. We start to trail the signal line and it continues to move down here. So that's a great feeling. As you start to move down towards target, you're watching that profit build up in your account and the whole time you're moving your stop down. So worst case, we're out with a partial profit. And that's exactly what happened here. We did not quite hit our full second target. Price action pulled back and it took me out right at this red dot here. Okay? So I booked a partial profit. I was in this trade for less than 24 hours. Okay, so I caught the quick pullback. We saw it get overbought here. I knew once we get those extreme readings, price action tends to want to pull back, and it did just that. So in this case on the short trade, could you short the stock? That's certainly an option. The problem I have with that is it ties up so much capital to short a stock, especially a stock like Netflix where it's a $300 stock. So what I did is I went ahead and I purchased some October puts. So by buying a put option, it still gives me control of the downside in Netflix. It just gives me control of the downside for a fraction of the cost. We take advantage of that leverage that the options offer. So in this case, I was able to book a partial profit, which in this case, it was close to $800 in less than 24 hours. That's a 40% return on the options. Okay, I don't think anybody can complain about a 40% return in 24 hours. Okay, that's a pretty powerful position. Okay, so now what do we do from here? Okay, we're got out of this short trade. Now we're flat. There's nothing for us to do because we don't have an extreme reading down here on percent R. I'm just waiting for the next reading either above 90 or below 10. So now we sit on hands. Okay, we're not going to force things to develop. We're not going to force trades to happen. I have no problem being flat on Netflix. I'm just going to wait for the next extreme reading. Okay, let's move over to Google. This is actually a trade that's currently in progress. Okay, so again, we got overbought down here on percent R, which has not been that uncommon. We've seen a lot of overbought readings here recently. And once we get overbought, the next step is to look for a close below the signal line, which we got here on the 23rd. Okay, now again, could you short the stock? You could, but with Google being an $875 stock, I don't want to tie up that much capital. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy some puts. And in this case, I am in the October puts. Specifically, I'm in the October 905 put. And I've got close to $800 of profit on this put option, and that's just for one contract. Okay, we haven't even hit target yet. The system gave me my targets here on the chart, the series of green dots, so I know exactly what I'm doing here. As soon as I hit the first target, we'll move the stop down to break even. But at the moment, there's nothing for me to do. I just need to wait for Google to either sell off or move up towards my stop. And that's what I'm looking for. So really nice position to be in on Google. And we'll just see how this one plays out as we wrap up the week. Okay, moving forward to symbol DIA. This is the ETF that tracks the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, very similar story here. Notice how the system does not change. Okay, we get an overbought reading here above 90 on percent R. We get a close below the signal line. Once that happens, the calculator prints a short setup on the chart. This one triggers in. This is the dream scenario. Okay, we trigger in. We never take any heat on this trade. Okay, we were in profit from the get-go. And we came down and we hit the full target. Again, I went ahead and I bought the October puts. I actually had about an 80% return on those puts, so it was a really nice position to be in, especially when you can book those profits without ever taking any heat on the trade. That really helps out psychologically as well. Okay, then finally, let's go over to Apple. We also just recently closed out a trade on Apple. In this case, we actually got an oversold reading on percent R down below the 10 level. Then we got to close up above the signal line, which gave me the long setup. We triggered long. Notice what happens here. We hit the first target. So once we hit the first target, our stop goes from the full level up to break even. Okay, and in this case, price action actually pulled back, and we came extremely close to hitting that stop. We got within a few pennies of stopping out of that trade. Fortunately for us, we came in and Monday morning, we saw the gap to the upside, and we actually hit full target. So I got out of this trade with close to $2,500 of profit, or 112% return on my October calls. So on those 4 trades alone, that's close to $4,000 of profit. Okay, now I didn't go back in time and pick and choose the best trades. These are just the most recent trades on the names that I have been talking about here for months. Okay, I've been seeing some really nice success here. In fact, if I go back on this chart on Apple, notice here, winning trade on the short side. Okay, if I scroll back further, there's 2 winners on the long side right here. Okay, if I scroll back even further in time, okay, winning trade on the short side, winning trade on the long side. It's difficult to find a losing trade in here. Now it's going to happen. Okay, no system is perfect. But what this reversal trade does is it forces us to be patient, and it forces us to eliminate a lot of the noise, and it forces us to sit on our hands until we see those extreme readings. So it does a number of things for us. Number one, it forces us to be patient. It prevents us from over trading. Okay, and it allows us to come in just a few minutes a day. There's going to be a lot of days where there's nothing for us to do. And in fact, on Apple, after closing out that long trade, is there anything for us to do in here? No, we're waiting for the next extreme reading on percent R. That could take a couple of days. It could take a couple of weeks. We don't know what the market's going to do. But with the market starting to head sideways here on Apple, do I really want to force another trade to happen in here? No, I already caught the nice pullback here to the upside. So for me, I've already booked my profit. So now let's just be patient for the next extreme reading. That's why the system is so powerful. Okay, so if you're already trading one of the PTU systems, great. Okay, I would encourage you to take a look at the reversal trade because it's a great, easy way to diversify what you're already doing. Okay, I just showed you $4,000 of profit on the most recent trades, And we're doing that in just a few minutes a day. Okay, if you're trading Trend Jumper, great. This is another way that you can diversify. Okay, you might be using a totally different system altogether. You might be totally new to trading. Okay, well, this is a great way to get your feet wet with some options trading. So if you don't have access to the reversal trade, if this is a totally new idea, new concept for you, go ahead and go to premiertraderuniversity.com/free options reversal. I'll give you access to the system on 3 different products for free. Okay, 3 of the names that I talked about here today, you'll have access to those at no charge to you. Okay, take a look, kick the tires, see how the trade works for you, see how the system works for you. I think you're going to like what you see. It just continues to do a great job of producing profits for me. It's one of my favorite setups to look for. When I see this sequence set up on the charts, I'm always excited about taking these types of trades. So hopefully I've piqued your interest as far as what I'm doing here with the options. Hope you all had a great week of trading. So I'm going to wrap this video up here, and I will talk to you guys again next week.